Now, it's been a while since we've seen a bit of NHL Imperialism, so I think it's time for us to bring it back. However, there's going to be a twist this time. It's just not regular games these teams are going to be involved in. We're going to have a little bit of 3-on-3 hockey. Each matchup is going to feature a 3-on-3 game. May the last team standing win. Now, like every NHL Imperialism video I've recorded, it starts off with a wheel spin, and this wheel spin is going to have the Washington Capitals as our first attacking team. And then, of course, like always, we have to spin our arrow to figure out what direction we're going to be going, and it looks like we're going to be heading southwest. Now, southwest for the Washington Capitals is actually going to keep things pretty simple here, as they're just going to start off by claiming a free state. Now, a free state is great and all, but we need to see an actual matchup, but I don't think that's actually happening with this arrow spin. I think they're claiming another free state. So that's going to be back-to-back free states for the Washington Capitals. Not really the way I want to start today's video. I want to see some matchups. But there's not too many free states left around the Washington Capitals, so I think they're going to get into a matchup here, and it looks like that's exactly what's happening. The team's heading northwest, and we have our first matchup. However, this matchup's probably not going to feature who you were thinking. You were probably thinking the Pittsburgh Penguins, because that's northwest of the Washington Capitals logo. However, in order to get to Pittsburgh Penguins territory, they would have to go through Philadelphia Flyers territory, so that's where our first matchup's going to be. It's going to be the Washington Capitals taking on the Philadelphia Flyers. But before we get to this first matchup, a quick word from today's sponsor. Now, I'd like to give a big shout out to Manscaped for sponsoring this video. Boys, the holiday season's upon us, and while you're busy giving gifts for everyone else, don't forget the most important person, yourself. And that's why this season, you're going to treat yourself to the ultimate self-care experience with the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra from Manscaped. Now, this package has everything, starting with the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. Now, of course, you want to be safe when you're shaving down there, and that's why the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra comes with 2 interchangeable skin-safe blade heads. Now, this waterproof trimmer can be used anywhere, even in the deep dark, because it has an incredible LED light that can brighten up any situation. But of course, the Performance Package is going to come with some more stuff, and the next is going to be the Weed Whacker 3.0 Ultra. Now, this is the perfect tool for trimming all of your stray hairs on your face. That includes your nose, your ears, and your eyebrows. Now, when you're done cleaning yourself up, of course, you have to freshen up, and that's where the Crop Smoother and Crop Preserver come in. Now, the Crop Smoother is going to be your post-shave lotion that helps reduce the skin irritation, while the Crop Preserver, that's going to provide some freshness below the waist. Now, you're probably thinking, this is an amazing package so far. What more could I possibly get? Well, you're going to get 2 free gifts, starting with the Boxers 2.0. Everyone needs a lucky pair of drawers, and that's exactly what these are going to be for you. And what else are you going to be getting? Well, you're going to be getting the Shed 2.0 travel bag. This is going to be a premium travel bag, so you can carry all of your self-care essentials when you're on a holiday. So you're loving what you're seeing from the Performance Package, and you're ready to get one yourself. But just hold on there, because guys, I got a deal for you. If you use promo code SOTI at checkout, you're going to receive 15% off your order. You heard me right. Use code SOTI at checkout, and you'll receive 15% off your order. And once again, I want to thank Manscaped for sponsoring today's video. So we finally got some 3-on-3 action. The Philadelphia Flyers taking on the Washington Capitals. 2 great teams, but only one team can come out on top, and the Flyers are looking to push early, and they might have an opportunity here. Konechny's got the puck, but he's going to turn it over behind the net, and now Washington's going the other way, and John Carlson's looking to start something. Is he going to be able to start something? I have no clue, but you know what? He's cooking early, and that was a nice pass towards the front of the net. Dylan Strome had a great opportunity, but it's not going to result in anything. Now, Owen Tippett's looking to take this coast to coast. He still has the puck moving into the offensive zone. Cam York, an amazing opportunity, but he's going to ring that one off the post. And here goes Rasmus Sandin. He's moving the other way, but he's going to turn it over. He had an opportunity. Philly's going to have themselves a breakaway. Bobby Brink, a chance to end this game. And is he going to capitalize? Yes, he is. Bobby Brink's going to be scoring the OT winner in this one. He had a breakaway, an opportunity to win the game, and that's exactly what he's going to do. The Washington Capitals are going to be the first team falling, while the Philadelphia Flyers, they're going to be adding a new player. So Bobby Brink, you're picking up a big-time goal, a goal that's allowing you to eliminate the Washington Capitals. But on top of that, you're going to be adding Alexander Ovechkin to the team, an amazing upgrade. So that's going to end up being a pretty big victory for the Philadelphia Flyers. Not only are they taking down the Capitals, but they're going to be claiming a fair chunk of land as well. So with our first matchup complete, NHL Imperialism is officially underway. Moving into our next matchup, that's going to feature the St. Louis Blues. The Blues have made it to a lot of overtime games so far this season. I don't think they've won a single one. Yeah, this team can't win in 3-on-3 overtime. Then again, we also can barely win during regulation. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and spin the arrow to figure out what direction we're heading. We're going to be going northeast, so that's going to make our matchup pretty simple. It's Chicago versus St. Louis. And if you weren't 100% sure whether or not that was going to be the case, here you go. St. Louis versus Chicago. Now, St. Louis, I know right now you're unable to win OT games, but maybe in NHL 26 you'll find a way to find the back of the net. I highly doubt it though. Now St. Louis might have a chance because Robert Thomas has the puck. A nice pass over to Jordan Kyrou. He created a bit of space, but Spencer Knight's going to make the big save. Now St. Louis is going to have numbers going the other way. Bukestad and Justin Falk, you had a breakaway. You had a breakaway, Justin Falk, and you shot it 9 million feet away from Spencer Knight. It was a weak wrist shot. That was never going to beat him. Bro, what are you doing? Now, St. Louis is finally going to have an opportunity in the offensive zone. Schen's going to be taking the draw, and it looks like he's going to win it. It's going to work its way back over to Schenn, and what a rocket from Schenn. He blasted that one right past Spencer Knight. He was not ready, and just like that, the St. Louis Blues are taking down the Chicago Blackhawks, and they're winning a game in 3-on-3 overtime. I never thought I'd see the day. Now, that was an absolute rocket from Schenn. Honestly, I wasn't expecting it. Also, I just realized Robert Thomas has dropped 1 overall. I didn't realize since the roster update, they'd made him drop 1 overall. To be fair, I kind of understand that based on Robert Thomas's stats this season because he hasn't been a point a game so far, but look at that St. Louis Blues team. Do you really expect anyone to be a point a game? In a hypothetical universe where Robert Thomas was a point a game on the St. Louis Blues, then y'all should make him a 93 overall because very few players could be a point a game on this St. Louis Blues team right now. But you know what? This video isn't about me talking about my problems with the St. Louis Blues. It's watching some 3-on-3 action where St. Louis is scoring big time goals. Honestly, you just love to see it. Also, I just want to point out, I'm recording this after Torpchenko got hurt, where he suffered severe burns at his house. What is with all of these weird injuries this season? Jack Hughes getting hurt at a team dinner, Lustaranen's barbecue blowing up on him or something. I don't know what happened there. And then Torpchenko getting severe burns at his house. No, we gotta start wrapping these boys in bubble wrap, because I guess they're getting hurt everywhere. Winnipeg's gonna be on the attack next. But nah, seriously, what is going on this season? Like, it's one thing to see one weird injury like the Jack Hughes one once a year, and I feel like once a year is kind of stretching it. Maybe like once every 5 years do you hear about an injury like that. We have had like 3 of them in the past 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. Players are just getting hurt in the most interesting ways. Also, Winnipeg's on the attack next, and if we are talking directly south from their logo, we're talking about this free state right here. They're not entering Minnesota Wild territory, so in this first spin, Winnipeg's just claiming a free state. Now, what are the odds they pick up 2 free states in a row? Somewhat likely. However, I don't think that's going to be happening because they're going to be heading southeast this time, and it's southeast enough for them to take on the Minnesota Wild. So Winnipeg might have avoided them the first time, but that's not going to happen this time. We have Winnipeg versus Minnesota. Now, this is certainly going to be an interesting matchup. I think Minnesota has the offense to pick up a big time goal. However, this is the Winnipeg Jets in NHL 26, and as we all know, this team is the greatest of all time in this game. But here goes Kyle Connor turning on the Jets. He might have a step here. It was a good centering pass, but Josh Morrissey just couldn't get it, and now Minnesota's going the other way. And Brock Faber might have a breakaway, but he's going to stall a little bit. Kaprizov's going to take a big rip, but it looks like Halbuck's making the save. Now Minnesota's going to be taking a costly penalty here. Cross-checking from Matt Boldy. Winnipeg's going to get a full 2 minutes on the power play. That might cost them the game right there. Matt Boldy's cross-checking penalty might be the thing that eliminates Minnesota. Like, I'm not going to lie, Boldy, you just can't take a cross-checking penalty right there. That is a stupid play to take. It was also a very stupid animation, but that's neither here nor there. Like, your stick was literally on the other side of bro, but that's neither here nor there. Matt Boldy's picking up a penalty, and that might be costly to Minnesota. Now, so far, Minnesota's done an incredible job on the penalty kill. Winnipeg's had a couple good opportunities, but not enough to keep anything sustained. But right there, Luke Schen's going to be ringing it off the post. Pion's going to be taking a big-time shot, but they're keeping that one out as well. Everything I just said about the Minnesota Wild should go out the door because the Winnipeg Jets are going to end this one right here. Luke Schen's picking up the big OT winner. I was just trying to gas up the Minnesota Wild penalty kill, and then right after I did that, 4 elite chances from Winnipeg, and they're going to close this one out. Now, that has to be the craziest coincidence of all time. Braden Schenn scores for the St. Louis Blues. In our next matchup, Luke Schenn is scoring for the Winnipeg Jets. You really can't make that up. Kirill Kaprizov's now going to be switching teams. He's going to be joining the Winnipeg Jets. But seriously, how on earth did that happen? Now, Minnesota, it was a fun matchup, but unfortunately, you're going to have to be eliminated, and Winnipeg's going to be sticking around for a bit longer. So we're 3 matchups down, but still, we have a ton to go here, and it looks like our next one's going to be featuring the Vancouver Canucks, so we're going to see some Pacific Division action. Now, there's a couple different teams surrounding the Vancouver Canucks, so this should be pretty easy, and it looks like they're going to be heading northeast, and I believe that is some Edmonton Oilers territory. territory. And it looks like that's exactly who it is. The Vancouver Canucks taking on the Edmonton Oilers. It's an all-Pacific Division matchup. Now, if I were to pick a favorite in this matchup, it is the Edmonton Oilers by a landslide. This team is incredible 3-on-3. They will win basically every 3-on-3 game. They will only win 50% of their games in regulation. But in saying all that, here's Brock Besser moving the other way. He's looking to create something. He's dishing it down to Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes back over to Besser. He rung the post. He rung it off the post. And here goes Connor McDavid. He's got himself a breakaway. I think we know how this is going to go. Thatcher Demko's making the big save. I thought this game was over. Once I saw McDavid getting a breakaway, but I guess not. Bouchard's going to intercept the puck. Connor McDavid over to Zach Hyman. They're looking to go to work. McDavid's got the puck once again. A shot's thrown towards the net, but it's not going to make it there. Now Evander Kane, he's got a bit of energy, and is he going to end this one against the Edmonton Oilers? It doesn't look like it. Stuart Skinner, a big time save. These teams are just going back and forth right now. Now Vancouver is continuing to put on all the pressure. McDavid, why are you still on the ice? You are absolutely exhausted. Just get off the ice, bro. You need to go for a change. You can't play all 5 minutes here. He's going to center this one to Jake DeBrusk, a chance to end this one, and that's exactly what he's doing. They're taking down the heavily favored Edmonton Oilers. Jake DeBrusk is going to have an answer for Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. He's going to bury his own OT winner, and just like that, they're going to eliminate the Edmonton Oilers, but also pick up Connor McDavid. Now, once again, in a big-time game, when the lights are the brightest, Stuart Skinner is going to be allowing an important goal, and just like that, the Edmonton Oilers are eliminated, and Connor McDavid's going to be joining Vancouver. Now, Stuart Skinner is catching a stray for absolutely no reason. The Vancouver Canucks are taking down the Oilers, but it wasn't Skinner's fault. Now, attacking teams are on a bit of a winning streak right now. I believe that is 3 straight victories. Tampa Bay is looking to make that 4 straight, and as we all know, there's only one team for them to take on. Now, I actually lied. There's a couple teams they can take on, and with them heading north, they're going to be avoiding one of the teams. Like, for a second, I thought Tampa Bay and Florida were swapped here, so Tampa Bay was on the bottom and Florida was on the top, meaning Tampa Bay would have to go through Florida. But that's actually not the case. There is a universe in which Tampa Bay takes on Carolina or Nashville, but in order for that to happen, Tampa Bay is going to have to keep on going north, and it doesn't look like that's going to continue. Now they're going to be heading south into some Florida Panthers territory. Now, Tampa, you might have got lucky during the first spin, but not during the second. We have Tampa Bay versus Florida. Okay, Victor Hedman is selling. I think he forgot which team he was on. What did I just witness from Victor Hedman? Hold on, I need the instant replay there. That man single-handedly lost the game for the Tampa Bay Lightning, because what did I just watch? So Braden Point's going to battle in the corner. He's going to lose the puck, which Victor Hedman's going to collect here. Now, Victor Hedman, you have a handful of options. 1, you can wrap around the net and go this way. 2, you can go right up the middle and hold on to the puck. Granted, there's 2 Florida players right here. Or 3, you can try to thread the needle to Braden Point. Really, any decision outside of going behind the net here is probably the wrong decision. So which one did you take? You decided to throw the puck back into the corner. That wasn't one of your options. You tried to go straight up the middle and then threw the puck back into the corner. And then what happened right after that? It's a wide open net for Matthew Tkachuk. And that's an easy goal for him. What did I just witness? Now, Florida, you're being gifted Nikita Kucherov. You don't deserve him. Victor Hedman just sold at an incredible rate we have never seen before. Because what did I just watch? No, like, I'm actually speechless. Victor Hedman single-handedly lost them that game. Tampa, you should still probably be in NHL Imperialism. But Victor Hedman said, nah, I'm going to do my own thing. Now, I'm never going to forget that Victor Hedman turnover. Like, that is a top 8 stick on the ice moment. What are the 7 ahead of it? I have no clue. I just said top 8. Moving on to our next matchup, we're going to see the San Jose Sharks on the attack. There's a couple teams around them. Let's figure out who they're taking on. Now, San Jose, what can I say? You guys are surprising me a ton this season, and part of that has to do with Celebrini being top 3 in points right now, or at least I think he's top 3 in points. As I'm recording this, he is tied for second with Connor Bedard with 37 points. The only guy ahead of them is Nathan McKinnon. We're entering a new era in the NHL. Like, Morgan Geeky's tied with 20 goals. This is going to turn out to be one of the greatest seasons in NHL history. Unfortunately, though, when we look back on this being one of the greatest seasons in NHL history, we're going to remember the St. Louis Blues absolutely sucking and selling at the trade deadline. But that's neither here nor there. The San Jose Sharks are going to be heading southeast. That's going to lead them into some Vegas Golden Knights territory. So we're going to have the Sharks taking on the Golden Knights. Now, Vegas is looking to push early, and Jack Eichel's going to be leading the charge. A great opportunity right there. I'm not going to lie, Alex Croft, you made that save 10 times harder than it had to be. Now, I feel like each team has just been going back and forth in the neutral zone up until this opportunity for Tyler Toffoli. He has a chance to end this game, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Tyler Toffoli is going to find the back of the net. The Vegas Golden Knights are going to be eliminated, and the San Jose Sharks are going to be picking up a new player. And who's that player going to be? Well, it's going to be Jack Eichel. So that's going to turn out to be a big time win for the San Jose Sharks. Jack Eichel is going to be switching teams. He's now going to be joining the San Jose Sharks. And just like that, San Jose's brought in another elite playmaker, which they definitely don't need. This team has way too many playmakers here. Now, regardless of whether or not San Jose actually needed playmakers, I don't think they're going to complain with Jack Eichel joining the team. I think they'll find a spot for him somewhere in the lineup. Now, if Tampa didn't completely sell that game against the Florida Panthers, we would probably be looking at 5 straight attacking team victories. But because of that Florida Panthers win, we've only seen one attacking team win in a row. The Islanders are looking to make that 2. Now, which team are the Islanders going to be taking on? Well, we're about to find out with this spin. They're going to be heading northeast, and there's a chance I'm wrong when I say this, but I think this is Boston Bruins territory. Now, what can I say? I am very familiar with the Imperialism map. We have the Islanders taking on the Boston Bruins. So it's a one-on-one. Here goes Jonathan Drouin, who is absolutely exhausted. He's going to find Anders Lee, who's going to have a break. Back-to-back saves from Jeremy Swayman's going to be saving the Bruins, and now they're going the other way with numbers. It's a 3-on-1. Charlie McAvoy dropping it back to Lindholm. That was a terrible shot, and it ended up in the net. No comment. Absolutely no comment. This is passing Victor Hedman's top 8 stick on the ice moment. This is the stick on the ice moment of all time. This is going to pass one of the mistakes that Joey Daccord made. This is the stick on the ice moment of all time. Number 1, we will never forget this moment. A 3-on-1 for the Boston Bruins. Casey Milstead sending it back to Charlie McAvoy. Like, he could have brought this into the offensive zone, but no, he dropped it back to Charlie McAvoy, allowing the Islanders defense to catch up. And then Charlie McAvoy, what's he going to do? He's going to drop it back as well. You were not expecting back-to-back drop-back passes. And then Lindholm, he's going to throw a shot towards the net. Is it going to be an absolute rocket where he just beats Sorokin? No, it's actually going to be the weakest wrist shot of all time where even I could save it, and I've never played goalie in my life. Sorokin's going to make this easy save, and he is looking to play it. What then happens is Adam Pelech blocks it. He kicks it past Sorokin. It's about to go into the net, but don't worry, because Adam Pelech has control of the puck. He's not going to put this into his own net. Yeah. That really happened. Yeah, so here you go, Boston. You can have Bo Horvat. I'm not giving you Sorokin based on what I just witnessed. Granted, he's not really that much of an upgrade. Jeremy Swayman, you're an 85 overall. I guess that is a 5 overall jump, but no, you are not joining the team Sorokin. I'm not forgiving you for that. Granted, it wasn't 100% your fault, but you're going to face at least 25% of the blame. Yeah, so we're just going to move on. Like, I'm just going to pretend that didn't happen. That was an absolute disgrace. So another matchup has been completed, but I'm still speechless from that last one. Buffalo, there is no possible way for you to fold more than the Islanders did. Like, we haven't even made it through 10 matchups, and we already have 2 top 10 stick on the ice moments. One of them sitting in the 9th ranking, and originally it was in the 8th ranking, but it actually had to drop 1 because we got the new greatest stick on the ice moment of all time. Yeah, I don't know what to say. So Buffalo's going to be heading south, but they also went the slightest bit east. Not enough to change the matchup, but it just solidifies our actual matchup a little bit more. It's the Buffalo Sabres taking on the Philadelphia Flyers. Buffalo's going to be avoiding Penguins territory. They got the Flyers instead. So Philly's going to have an opportunity here. If they can get to the loose puck, but they can't. Alex Tuch was turning it over in the defensive zone. I thought that was going to cost them, but instead it's going to lead to an amazing opportunity, and it's going to end up in the back of the net. Alex Tuch is going to be getting the juicy rebound. A backhander is going to end up in the back of the net. The Philadelphia Flyers are going to be falling. But earlier in overtime, I was thinking Alex Tuch sold for the Buffalo Sabres, but instead he's actually picking up the winner. Now, how it's going to work is Alexander Ovechkin's not going to be the guy joining the Buffalo Sabres, but instead Travis Konechny. The Buffalo Sabres beat the Philadelphia Flyers, therefore they're gaining a player from Philadelphia. They didn't beat the Washington Capitals, therefore they didn't earn Alexander Ovechkin. Now, though that might not have seemed like a big win for the Buffalo Sabres, look at all the land that they're going to be acquiring. Pittsburgh's almost surrounded at this point. So the Philadelphia Flyers might have been able to win one matchup, but eventually someone caught up to them, and that team was the Buffalo Sabres. The next team on the attack is going to be a team that we saw not too long ago and scored the flukiest goal of all time, the Boston Bruins. Now, like, in all seriousness, I'm never getting over that goal. Not that long ago in the video, I was talking about how I would never get over the Victor Hedman turnover. Now I'm never getting over that goal. I very easily got over the Victor Hedman turnover. Now, with the way the arrow landed for the Boston Bruins, they're going to be entering some New York Ranger territory. They weren't north enough to enter this free state right here. So we're going to have Boston versus New York. No free states need to be claimed. Now Boston, I'm not gonna lie, I'm hating on you guys right now. I want the New York Rangers to win because you didn't deserve to beat the New York Islanders. That was the flukiest win of all time. So yeah, I'm cheering for the Rangers in this matchup. Hopefully they can find a way to win. Now Adam Fox is finding a loose puck and he's gonna have a breakaway. Unfortunately, he is absolutely exhausted, but that doesn't matter. He's gonna be able to deke out Jeremy Swayman. He's gonna bury this one in the back of the net, and the correct team is winning. The Boston Bruins are falling. They don't deserve to be here. They just don't. So Boston, you're going to be losing a game after winning a very questionable one. Dave Pasternak's going to be switching teams, moving over to the New York Rangers. Pasta in a Rangers jersey just doesn't seem right. And I am not okay with this. But you know what? I'm going to have to live with it. Now, you know what? It is what it is. The Boston Bruins are eliminated. They're losing Dave Pastrnak. We're just going to have to get used to him being on the New York Rangers. I mean, I guess it could be significantly worse. Like, imagine if Dave Pastrnak had to join the Florida Panthers. Nobody would be happy with that. So we saw Seattle's going to be our next attacking team, and where are they going to be headed? Well, it looks like they're going to be heading northeast. Now, not only were they heading northeast, but they were actually heading pretty north. So that means they're going to be crossing the border into Canada, and they're going to be taking on the Vancouver Canucks. And we have to remember, Vancouver's a better team than they were before. They have Connor McDavid on the team now, so we can't sleep on them. Alright, completely ignore the score of this game right now. There was a lot of goals scored in this one. It is 8-8 right now. There is definitely going to be a 3-on-3 goal scored. Now, which team is going to score that goal? I have no clue, but it might be the Seattle Kraken because they're pushing early. A shot's deflected towards net. Jared McCann off the post. What just happened to that defenseman? Bro went flying. So Connor McDavid's got a chance. He has a breakaway here, turning on the Jets, and this one's going to end up in the back of the net. It's deflecting off a Seattle player. McDavid didn't beat Joey Daccord there. The puck was still on the ice, but it's going to get kicked in. Connor McDavid's going to end this one for the Vancouver Canucks, and they're going to be sticking around for a bit longer. So Connor McDavid might not have been able to score a big goal for the Edmonton Oilers, but he will for the Vancouver Canucks. And Brandon Montour, 99.9% of the time, I always take Vince Dunn over you, just because he's a left and right defenseman. But today, we're bringing in right defenseman Brandon Montour. Is that going to really hurt us too much? I have no clue, but that's the player we're going with. Now, Seattle, I would like to say you put up a good fight, but we do have to remember, Connor McDavid's goal was the 9th of the game for the Vancouver Canucks. They scored 9 goals against you. Clearly, y'all weren't doing too much. Now, I can't imagine we're going to see another 17-goal game, but you never know. The Ottawa Senators are going to be featured in our next matchup. Let's figure out who they're going to be taking on. Now, in reality, there's only a limited number of teams that the Ottawa Senators can take on, but they're going to keep this very simple. Now, I'm not too sure if we could get a more obvious matchup. The Ottawa Senators taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. So early into overtime, the Ottawa Senators are going to have themselves a bit of a 2-on-1, but a drop back pass to Brady Tkachuk, I'm not really too sure if that was the move in that situation. Zub's going to be pinned alongside the board, but he's going to find a way to play this one out. Tim Stutzel's going to throw something towards the net, but Brady Tkachuk is in the right spot at the right time. He's going to get this one past the Toronto Maple Leafs, and just like that, the Maple Leafs are going to be eliminated in the first 30 seconds. 24 seconds. That's how long it was. It took 24 seconds for the Ottawa Senators to score. And you know what, Austin Matthews? We're not going to go with you. For the first time in history, William Nylander, I'm going to say you're the higher overall. Technically, you're both 93s, but I see your name first. So William Nylander, you're joining the Ottawa Senators. Austin Matthews, you just played your final game of the video. So that was certainly one of our fastest matchups, but it's time for us to move on. And it looks like our next one's going to feature the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, there's a pretty solid chance that the Carolina Hurricanes end up taking on Nashville. However, maybe not. But I guess with this first spin, we're not going to have to worry about Carolina taking anyone on. They're just claiming a free state. Now, regardless of what this next arrow spin is, we're heading into a matchup. And with them heading directly north, I believe that's Buffalo Sabres territory. At one point, it was Washington Capitol territory. Then it was Philadelphia Flyer territory. Now it's Buffalo Sabre territory. So it's Carolina versus Buffalo. Now, Buffalo has received an upgrade to the team where Carolina hasn't. However, I don't really think that's going to make too much of a difference. Carolina's got to be the favorite heading into this matchup. But whether or not you're the favorite doesn't really mean too much. Buffalo has control of the puck in the offensive zone, and that's a goal right there. Never mind. I thought that was going to deflect off Freddie Anderson, end up in the back of the net, and how didn't it deflect off Freddie Anderson? Normally when you see shots like that, this is going to deflect off the goaltender's back pad, or it's going to hit him in the back and end up in the back of the net. Somehow it did neither of those things. Actually, it did both of those things. I think it hit him in the back and on that pad as well, and still stayed out of the net. Never mind, that's actually going to land in front of him. Nah, that is a wild bounce right there. Tage Thompson, I'm not going to lie, you should have had a goal there. This should deflect off Freddie Anderson into the back of the net, but instead it's going to make its way right through that gap right there. Not going to lie, Tage Thompson, I think you got screwed there. Now, so far, Buffalo has had all the elite chances. Carolina's just looking to create something, but it doesn't look like they can do that. Instead, Buffalo is going to get themselves a power play because Carolina's going to be picking up a cross-checking penalty. Slavin, what are you doing? I'm going to be honest, I didn't even see the cross-checking penalty. When did it happen? I guess it happened right there. And yeah, that's a cross-checking penalty. Bro, what are you doing? So we're down to the final 30 seconds of the power play. Buffalo is yet to score a goal until right now. But that's another big time save from Freddie Anderson. That's the 5th shot on the power play. No, they just can't buy a goal right now. No matter what Buffalo does, they just can't seem to buy a goal. Here's another great chance, but there they go. Alex Tuch is picking up the goal. It's about time they scored a goal. They took so many shots in overtime. It was only a matter of time before one ended up in the back of the net. So the Buffalo Sabres going to come out on top yet again. It's another big time victory for them, and because of that, Sebastian Aho is going to be joined the team. I don't think Buffalo needs another defenseman here. They have a handful of pretty solid defensemen, but they could use an elite centerman like Sebastian Aho, so that's who's going to join the team next. Now, Carolina, you did everything in your power to beat the Buffalo Sabres, but for some reason, Buffalo is just that team. I don't know what it is about the Buffalo Sabres in NHL 26. This team just shows up to play. Not like respectfully, does NHL 26 know who the Buffalo Sabres are? I don't understand why that team sees so much success. The Montreal Canadiens are on the attack next. They're going to have Cole Caulfield in 3-on-3 overtime. This could get interesting. However, if for some reason they have to take on the Buffalo Sabres, then unfortunately, they're just not going to have a chance. But luckily for Montreal Canadiens fans, you don't have to worry about that because there's like a 95% chance you take on the Ottawa Senators, and that's who you're taking on right now. Now, Montreal, congratulations. Y'all have already done better than the Toronto Maple Leafs as you've made it to the 30-second mark. Not too many teams can do that. So it's an offensive zone draw for the Ottawa Senators. They're looking to win this one. Okay. Just like that, that's a goal. Nick Jensen's going to be burying the OT winner. That was very quick. A face-off win resulting in a goal immediately. I wasn't expecting that, but Montreal, just like that, you're going to be eliminated, and Ottawa's taking down another team. Now, Montreal, there's not really too much I can say. You did better than the Toronto Maple Leafs, though, so I'll give you that. So, Nick Jensen, you're picking up one of the biggest goals of the video. You're going to be taking down the Montreal Canadiens, and just look at all that land Ottawa owns now. However, it doesn't mean anything if you're not the last team standing. And as we can all see, there's still a ton of teams remaining, so we got to move on to our next matchup, and that one's going to feature the Calgary Flames. Now, Calgary is basically surrounded by one team, but there is the chance that they take on somebody else, but that's not going to happen. So we have Calgary versus Vancouver. It's pretty obvious. Like if Calgary worked their way east, they could have made it to Winnipeg Jets territory, but nope, Calgary versus Vancouver. Now I'm not going to lie, this first 3-on-3 unit for the Vancouver Canucks is actually incredibly good. Connor McDavid, Quinn Hughes, and then Elias Pettersson. If they could get an upgrade for Elias Pettersson, that might be better than Edmonton's 3-on-3 lines right now. Quinn Hughes and McDavid, yeah, they can just create goals, but then again, Dustin Wolf is the goaltender they're going against. Kind of forgot that. Okay, so it's the Connor McDavid show. He's turning on the Jets, but he's not going to be able to get past Kevin Ball, but it doesn't really matter. Elias Pettersson's picking up the game-winning goal, and just like that, the Calgary Flames are going to be eliminated. McDavid doesn't even have to score to impact the game. He can pick up assists from time to time. Now, that was a tough one for the Calgary Flames. Like, Dustin Wolf did everything in his power to help his team win that game, and they just did nothing. So who do we want to bring over? Mackenzie Weegar, Nazem Kadri, Rasmus Anderson. There's a handful of pretty solid options here. We've already brought in Brandon Montour, and we've already brought in Connor McDavid, but I think we could use another forward on this team. So Nazem Kadri, welcome to Vancouver. Now I just feel bad for Dustin Wolf. Like, he made one of the biggest saves of the video, but it just doesn't matter because Elias Pettersson scored not too long after. So moving into our next matchup, our next attacking team is looking to have more success than the Calgary Flames, and let's see if LA can do that. Granted, LA, you don't have to worry about Connor McDavid, so that definitely helps quite a bit. However, you do have to worry about an improved San Jose Sharks team, and they're competing with the best right now. So Adrian Kempe's turning on the Jets, and wow, that was a weak goal. Adrian Kempe going 5-hole. Askarov, I'm assuming he was surprised. Something must have happened there because I can't believe out of all goals that one's going in. Then again, we saw that Bruins goal earlier in the video. Literally anything can happen. Nah, but seriously, I want to watch the replay on that one. I was not prepared for an Adrian Kempe goal, especially from this far out on a 5-hole shot. It's not like he was like 2 feet away and went 5-hole. No, he was a fair distance away, going 5-hole. Okay, buddy, I am sorry. make the 5-hole a little bit bigger next time. Askarov, you sold so incredibly hard there. Like, what was that? What kind of butterfly is this? Look at that 5-hole. This is the puck's view. He sees nothing but net right now. That is the easiest goal that will ever be scored, except for that Boston one. That one was slightly easier. It was actually significantly easier. So that was certainly a tough loss for the San Jose Sharks. Macklin Celebrini, you're going to be changing teams and moving on over to the LA Kings. Jack Eichel, although you were a great upgrade for this San Jose Sharks team, I guess you weren't enough to make the difference. Now San Jose, you had real high hopes after taking down the Vegas Golden Knights in 3-on-3. And then Askarov sold. Plain and simple. Askarov sold you guys right there. He's got to make that save 100 times out of 100. Like, it really wasn't that difficult of a shot. So we still have 11 teams left that need to attack, and let's figure out who our next attacking team is going to be. That's going to be the Nashville Predators. Now, Nashville could just make this really simple if they want to head east, and I guess they're sort of making it simple here, but not really. I'm pretty sure this is a free state, and based on where the Nashville Predators logo is, that's exactly what it is. So let's go ahead and give the arrow another spin, and this time it's going to be heading south, which is another free state. So that's back-to-back free states for the Nashville Predators. This isn't going to keep on happening, though. I mean, if they head directly north, then it's going to keep on happening, but that's not going to be the case this time. We're finally getting into a matchup. And which teams are going to be involved in our matchups? Well, it looks like it's going to be the Nashville Predators taking on the Buffalo Sabres. So Roman Josi could potentially have a breakaway here, and that's exactly what he's going to have. He has a chance to end this game, but it's going to be poked away at the last second. An amazing defensive play from Rasmus Dahlin, and now Buffalo's going to have a breakaway. Travis Konechny, a chance to end this game, but UC is going to be right there to make the big-time save. So the Nashville Predators are controlling the puck in the defensive zone, but they're looking to move up the ice, but that pass is going to be intercepted. Sebastian Aho with the full pressure mirror maxed out is going to end this one. That's a big-time goal from the Buffalo Sabres. That's allowing them to win their third straight game. So it's another victory for the Buffalo Sabres, their third of the video so far. It's time for us to upgrade their defense with Roman Josi. He's going to be tied as the highest rated defenseman alongside Rasmus Dahlin at 92 overall. Buffalo now has one of the best defensive cores in the league. Who would have thought? Nah, things have really changed for the Buffalo Sabres. 3 straight victories. Now they own all of this land. They're actually looking like a dominant force right now. I mean, to be fair, it still makes absolutely no sense why the Buffalo Sabres of all teams are a dominant force, but that's just the way it is. The Dallas Stars are finally ready to get in on the action, so let's figure out which direction they're going to be heading. Now, when it comes to the Dallas Stars, there's not too many teams for them to take on, but when it comes to this first arrow spin, I think they're just going to be claiming a free state, and that's exactly what's going to be happening for the Dallas Stars. They can have this free state right there. Now, there's a lot of open spaces around the Dallas Stars, so we could be spinning for a little bit because this spin right here is going to lead to another free state. So that's back-to-back arrow spins for the Dallas Stars, and that's going to lead to back-to-back free states. And I do believe that they actually claimed this free state right here and not this free state right here. So yeah, Dallas, you can have this one right here. So that's back-to-back free states for the Dallas Stars. Let's see what they're getting with this next one. Another free state. So regardless of whether or not you thought Dallas should have had this free state, well, they're going to claim it now. So are we going to see 4 straight free states being claimed by Dallas, or are we finally getting into a matchup? Well, they're heading directly north, and if I do recall correctly, this is just another free state. And that's exactly what it is for the Dallas Stars, their 4th free state so far. Now, it's only a matter of time before the Dallas Stars get into a matchup. Okay, this is starting to get a little bit ridiculous. Like, this wasn't west enough for them to enter Colorado Avalanche territory. This was mainly north, so that's another free state for Dallas. I'm done with the free states. Dallas get into a matchup. Like, 1 free state was fine, 2 free states was cool. Just get into a matchup. But of course, that can't happen unless Dallas claims this free state right here. So no more messing around, no more jokes, get into a matchup. There is no way you got another free state. At this rate, this is just free state simulator. Dallas is claiming another piece of land. Now, there is almost no way you can avoid a matchup here. Finally get into one, and that's what you're doing. So after all of that time, we finally got our matchup. It's going to be the Dallas Stars taking on the Colorado Avalanche. Now, Colorado might have something. It's a 2-on-1. Cale Makar more than enough space, but the Otter's going to make the big save. They're going to elect to play that puck. That might be a mistake, and it was. Jake Ottinger is selling big time. Gabriel Landeskog is going to pot the OT winner. You shouldn't have played that puck. Playing that puck was definitely the wrong decision, and it's going to result in you guys losing the game. So Dallas, you just wasted all of our time. You had to claim 9 free states before the Otter misplayed the puck and you guys end up losing the game. Nah, you just hate to see it. Mikko Rantanen, you rejoined the Colorado Avalanche. But yeah, you hate to see a team going out like that. Now Dallas, look at all this land you had. Emphasizing the word had, because you don't have it anymore. The Colorado Avalanche own it all. Like Dallas, that's a game you should have won. You were putting on all the offensive pressure only to fold when it mattered most. The Detroit Red Wings are going to be on the attack next. Don't do what Dallas did. And I'm not talking about folding. I'm talking about claiming 17 million free states and then losing in your first matchup. So let's go ahead and spin the arrow to figure out where the Red Wings are going to be heading. And it looks like they're going to be heading southeast, but mainly south. But whether it was south or southeast, that doesn't really change too much. It's still the Red Wings taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. So the Red Wings have themselves a 2-on-1. Dylan Larkin, a chance to end this one. That was a very quick game. Like, each team had one great opportunity before that goal right there. Detroit had a chance to score, Columbus had a chance to score, and then Dylan Larkin capitalized on the 2-on-1, and just like that, this game's over, and Zach Werenski's switching teams. Now, that wasn't the fastest goal we've seen today. The Toronto goal was scored within 24 seconds. The Dylan Larkin OT winner that we just witnessed, it took 32 seconds for that to happen, but even still, that was a quick exit for the Columbus Blue Jackets, and just like that, they're eliminated. Now, there's not really too much for me to say. That was a quick loss for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Yeah, y'all lost in 32 seconds. Not too much more needs to be said. So we have 7 teams left on the wheel that still need to attack, and it looks like the Utah Mammoth are going to be our next attacking team. Now, I would say it's split 50-50 right now between attacking teams and defending teams. Nobody's really had the upper hand. But of course, the Utah Mammoth are looking to change that as they're going to be taking on the Colorado Avalanche. Now, Cale Makar, you have energy, and that's something not a lot of players have right now, but you're going to go off for a change. You could have jumped into the play there. How did Marty Natchez create that space, and how did he just ring it off the post? Nah, nobody is going to ever score in this game. Nobody can find that. You're kidding me. That's going in. Out of all shots, that's going in the net. All right, Colorado's winning. We're not spending any more time here. Now, that game is what I would call neutral zone hockey. 90% of the time was spent in the neutral zone. Somebody would bring the puck into the offensive zone. It would stay in the offensive zone for all of 3 seconds before being moved out. We finally had a little bit of offense, which was a Marty Natchez shot right off the post, and then Devon Taves with no screen whatsoever. Just him and the goalie is going to rip one home. Now, like, respectfully, bro, you got to make that save. Like, there was no screen at all. But you know what? That's just the way she goes. Sometimes she goes, sometimes she doesn't. It's just the way she goes. So another attacking team is going to be falling, and it's time for us to move on to our next matchup. Florida, are you going to lose in your next one? I guess we're going to find out. Also, when it comes to the Florida Panthers, there's only one team for them to take on. They're not going to be crossing the ocean because that can make things very confusing. The only team they could take on is the Buffalo Sabres, so that's who they're taking on. They're keeping it simple. Well, if I'm narrating right now, something must have happened. The Buffalo Sabres are going to win the faceoff. Rasmus Dahlin turns the puck over, Florida wins. I hate this game. Now, it's one thing to score a fluky goal in your first matchup. It happens from time to time. It's another thing for in your second matchup, it's a costly turnover that results in your goal. Florida is getting so incredibly lucky right now, it makes no sense. There is no reason they should be 2-0 so far. They should probably be 0-1. Like, just look at the map now. This isn't right. Florida should not own all of this land. They should have been eliminated in matchup number 1. They're getting lucky. Very, very lucky. So we have 5 teams left on our attacking wheel. Who is going to be the next team to attack? Well, it looks like it's going to be the Anaheim Ducks. Now, Anaheim, there's only 2 different teams for you to take on. So who is it going to be? It's going to be the LA Kings. And if you need that clarified, here you go. Anaheim versus LA. Now, Anaheim, this is a great time to capitalize. There's a lot of tired Kings on the ice right now. Kempe is exhausted. Drew Doughty's exhausted. You could have had a breakaway there if only you could have gotten the loose puck. And you know what? You might have one here. Drew Doughty's exhausted. He can't get back into the play. What kind of a shot was that? No, the Ducks are selling. They probably could have had a goal there, but instead, Drew Doughty's going to be there to pick up the rebound. Trevor Moore's bringing the puck in. He's got a little bit of space, but it's going to be a save from Luke Stostel. Now, we're 2 minutes into overtime, and I don't think Drew Doughty's got off the ice. This man has been on the ice for the entirety of overtime, and it looks like that's going to be hurting them. Cutter Gauthier is going to pick up the game winner. No, but seriously, Drew Doughty, why were you on the ice for the entirety of overtime? Now, Sal Brainy, you're not going to be able to pick up the big-time goal for the LA Kings. They're going to be falling as Adrian Kempe is going to be switching teams. But Drew Doughty, did you really think you could play 5 straight minutes in overtime? Like, what was the thought process there? Nah, like seriously, Drew Doughty, why didn't you just get off the ice? You had 8 million opportunities to go off for a change. You took none of them. But you know what? That's just the way things go sometimes. Sometimes players don't go for changes, and sometimes teams lose games because of that. The Pittsburgh Penguins are on the attack next. I'm pretty sure they're surrounded by 2 different teams. So if they're surrounded by 2 teams, that means there's only 2 options for them to take on. They're going to be heading northwest, but but mainly north. And I actually can't tell you who this is. I completely forget who's north of them. So where is northwest for the Pittsburgh Penguins? Well, we have to remember it was mainly north. So that means they're going to be entering some Florida Panthers territory. It's going to be the Pittsburgh Penguins taking on the Florida Panthers. Pittsburgh win. Just please win this game. Now, y'all haven't seen the previous two matchups between the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Florida Panthers, but this is attempt number 3 in 3-on-3 overtime, and the other two attempts, neither team was able to score a goal. Y'all better score a goal. This is basically triple overtime, triple 3-on-3 overtime. For some reason, no one can score. So the Florida Panthers are moving, and it's a 2-on-1. Here goes Barkov, a chance to end this game, and he's going to do that. Barkov's going to be ending this one. He's going to be picking up the OT winner, the last man I want to see winning this game, only because I don't want Florida to win. They have won way too many questionable games. This is their first legit win. Now this one hurts the most. Sidney Crosby to the Florida Panthers. NHL fans would riot if this happened. So the Penguins are falling, the Florida Panthers are claiming more land. It's just not right. But regardless of whether or not it's right, we have to move on to our next matchup, and this one's going to have Colorado on the attack. Now, Colorado, I don't care what you do. Just don't go to triple overtime. I can't handle any more triple OTs. I mean, I would also appreciate if you weren't claiming free states, because that's what you're going to be doing. Also, if you're wondering how they're claiming that state basically directly north of them, well, they went like this. So yeah, that hits this free state right here. So one free state's more than enough for Colorado. Would spin the next wheel, and this one's going to have them going southeast. Now, just to keep things simple, we're going to say it was this far southeast just so they can claim this free state. Now, don't pull a Dallas Stars move on me where you claim 18 million free states and then immediately lose in the matchup. But with the Avs heading north, I'm starting to think that's going to be the case. I mean, you definitely can't sleep on the Avs, though. They have an incredible team, so maybe I shouldn't be disrespecting them as much as I am. However, I will start actively disrespecting you if you just keep on claiming free states, because I'm getting sick and tired of it. Like, at this point, I should just give you every free state around you, but I'm not going to do that. You have to earn those free states. But this time, you're not going to be getting a free state. You're going to be entering some Anaheim Ducks territory. We have the Colorado Avalanche taking on the Ducks. Now, Colorado needs to stand on business. You don't get to claim 6 free states and then immediately lose. You're not like the Dallas Stars. You're not going to do that to me. So Colorado's putting on some pressure in the offensive zone. Marty Necas is battling in the corner. He's trying to retrieve that puck, and he finally does, but nobody's there. Now, Mikael Granlund's looking to turn on the Jets. Can he get past the Colorado defense? He's going to dance through one guy. Cutter Gaucher's got the puck, and he is going to bury this one. He's picking up the hat trick. Cutter Gaucher's picking up the OT winner, and Colorado, you lost. You lost after claiming all those free states. It's the way she goes. Now, Cutter Gaucher, you were in the right place at the right time. Find that loose puck and burying that one in the back of the net. Nathan MacKinnon's now going to be joining your team. Honestly, you can't really sleep on the Ducks. They got some decent pieces here. But on top of having a handful of decent pieces, they also own a lot of land. And I mean a lot of land. So we're down to our final 2 attacking teams of round number 1. 2 teams in the Metro Division, and it looks like the Rangers are going to be the first attacking team. Now, I know for a fact there's a few free states around the New York Rangers. I'm just hoping they don't claim them, and I'm happy to say that's not going to be the case. So we don't have to worry about 18 million free states being claimed. We can just enjoy our matchup of the Rangers taking on the Ottawa Senators. Now, Jake Sanderson's battling to keep this one away from Artemi Panarin. He's putting on a lot of pressure, but Artemi Panarin's going to be picking up a penalty. Is that another cross-checking penalty? Nah, bro, what are you doing? That's like the 4th of the video we've seen. Now, if you were curious on what the Ottawa Senators power play has been looking like so far, basically this is what happens. They take a shot, the New York Rangers immediately ice the puck, they go and collect it, but Tim Stützle said, nah, I'm just going to finish this one right here. He's going to get this one past Igor Shesterkin, and I guess the power play is going to work out for the Ottawa Senators. They're taking down the New York Rangers, and they're also going to be picking up a nice upgrade in the process. Now, David Pastrnak, you were non-existent for the New York Rangers in overtime, but that might have been because you guys spent 90% of the time killing off a penalty, and he might have just not been on the 3-on-4 penalty killing unit. So Artemi Panarin, you're going to be the guy switching teams. The Senators already have a decent enough goaltender. They have Linus Ullmark, but what overall is Linus Ullmark now? He just dropped to an 86? No, that's crazy work. So maybe we replace Linus Ullmark with Igor Shesterkin. But you know what? We haven't really swapped goaltenders so far in today's video. So Artemi Panarin, you're just going to join the Ottawa Senators instead. Another playmaker. Actually, executive decision, Igor Shesterkin, you will switch teams. The Ottawa Senators have more than enough playmakers. They clearly need an upgrade in between the pipes. So Merrill-Leinen, you're going to be sent over to the Rangers. Igor Shesterkin's going to be the new starter. Now for the Ottawa Senators, I feel like this move just makes sense. Yes, Linus Ullmark is a great goaltender, but he's not Igor Shesterkin. Now we can immediately move on to our arrow spin because we're all well aware that the last attacking team is going to be the New Jersey Devils, and they're going to start off by going southwest. And the only thing Southwest is going to be doing for the New Jersey Devils is giving them this free state right here. However, it's only a matter of time before they get into a matchup. Also, I guess I should give this spot right here to the Ottawa Senators, because they technically do own that now. So let's go ahead and spin the arrow once again and figure out what the matchup's going to be. I believe this is the New Jersey Devils taking on the Ottawa Senators. And you know what? That's exactly what it's going to be. They're going to be entering some Ottawa Senators territory. We just saw the Senators, but now we're going to see them again. Now, I guess we're going to find out if Ottawa's tired from their last matchup. They were able to take down the New York Rangers, but can they beat the New Jersey Devils? No, if the Devils scored right there, it would have been wraps. Now, if the Ottawa Senators can get the puck out of the defensive zone, I think they're going to win this game, because every player on the New Jersey Devils that's on the ice right now is exhausted. Almost everyone for Ottawa has a ton of energy, so I guess we're going to see what's happening here. Now, there's a loose puck. Here goes Brady Tkachuk. A one-on-one to end this game, and he's going to find a way to beat Jacob Markstrom, the only man in front of him. The Ottawa Senators are winning back-to-back games. It's a big-time overtime goal, and just like that, the Devils are eliminated, and Jack Hughes is going to be switching teams. So the Ottawa Senators are going to find a way to keep on scoring goals. Now Jack Hughes is going to be switching teams. He's joined the Ottawa Senators. Another playmaker for them. You know what? I think going with Igor Shesterkin over Artemi Panarin was definitely the right decision, considering Jack Hughes was the next selection after that. Now with that Ottawa Senators win right there, the Devils are eliminated, and we're down to our final 7 teams. The Canucks, the Jets, the Senators, the Red Wings, Panthers, St. Louis Blues, and the Anaheim Ducks. Only one team can be the last team standing though, so it's time to move on to round number 2. So we have 7 attacking teams left. We're moving on to round number 2, and it looks like Winnipeg's going to be starting us off. Also, completely ignore the fact that the New Jersey Devils are still on the wheel. Pretend that's the Ottawa Senators. Yeah, for some reason, after Ottawa beat the New Jersey Devils, I kept the Devils on the wheel and didn't replace them with the Senators. In the event we spin the wheel in the future and land on the New Jersey Devils, we'll just pretend it's the Ottawa Senators. Now, I would prefer if the Winnipeg Jets didn't take on the Ottawa Senators, considering we just saw them, but I guess my opinion doesn't matter. We're going to have Winnipeg taking on Ottawa. So for the third straight game, can the Ottawa Senators find a way to win? I guess we're about to find out. So Ottawa, it's all up to you. Can you find a way to win another 3-on-3 game here? You've won 2 in a row. So far 3 in the video, but can you make it 3 in a row and then 4 in this video? We're about to find out. Now we're down to the final 2 minutes. Each team has had some elite opportunities, but nobody's found the back net. Jack Hughes, a chance to end this one, and he's going to end it. After being acquired from the New Jersey Devils, Jack Hughes is picking up the big goal. He's going to allow the Ottawa Senators to win their 3rd straight game, their 4th of the video, and not only are they going to be taking down the Winnipeg Jets, well, they're going to be getting an upgrade as well. Now, over time, the Ottawa Senators have turned into a super team. Mark Scheifele is going to be the next player added. Actually, I'm not going to go with Mark Scheifele. They don't need more playmakers. They need a sniper, and that sniper is going to be Kyle Connor, William Nylander, Jack Hughes, Igor Shesterkin, Kyle Connor. The 4 top players in the Ottawa Senators have all been acquired through victories. And of course, we can't forget about Nick Suzuki. He's making that actually 5 players. I guess this team isn't 4-0. They're actually 5-0. Why'd I completely forget one of their victories? I have no clue. But yeah, they're looking pretty good right now. So I guess I'll have to take my comments back from earlier. The Ottawa Senators aren't 4-0. They're 5-0. They've won 3 games in a row, which is correct, but they're 5-0, not 4-0. No, this team's looking elite. I don't know why, for some reason, I completely forgot they beat the Montreal Canadiens. Even though I witnessed Nick Suzuki on the ice a million times, I was well aware of Nick Suzuki being on the ice, but I completely forgot the Senators beat the Montreal Canadiens in order to get Nick Suzuki. Why did I forget that? I have no clue. So after that quick yap session, the Anaheim Ducks are going to be on the attack next. They're going to be heading north, and I think that immediately sends us into a matchup. And it appears I was incorrect. It doesn't send us into a matchup, but it actually sends us into this free state right here. So the Ducks are going to start off with a free state, but I don't think that's going to continue. We got ourselves a matchup. Now in this matchup right here, we're all Anaheim Ducks fans. It's the Ducks taking on the Panthers. I need you to beat Florida. Somebody has to take them down. Now when it comes to this matchup right here between the Anaheim Ducks and the Florida Panthers, I'm on the Ducks bandwagon. I am cheering for the Ducks to win this game. I don't want to see Florida win another game. Granted, the last game that Florida won was actually a legit win. It wasn't some questionable turnover in the defensive zone. It was a good goal. Now I think the Ducks could be in a little bit of trouble. They have too many exhausted players on the ice right now. They're going to center it over, and Barkov's going to dive for it. He's going to find a way to get past Lucas Dostal. Nah, you just hate to see it. You really do. Now who's going to be able to take down the Florida Panthers? Because so far, nobody's been able to beat Florida. Barkov's Barkov's picking up a big OT goal, and just like that, Florida's adding another player, and that player is going to be Leo Carlson. No, but seriously, eventually somebody's going to have to answer the Florida Panthers, because this is getting a little bit ridiculous. We're down to our final 5 teams. Let's figure out who's attacking next. Now, out of our remaining 5 teams, all of them still have to attack, and it looks like our next attacking team is going to be the New Jersey Devils. Also, I don't know why I have the New Jersey Devils on this wheel. It's supposed to be the Ottawa Senators, so we're just going to pretend that the New Jersey Devils are actually the Ottawa Senators, because this technically should be the Ottawa Senators. For some reason, when I moved on to round number 2, I kept the New Jersey Devils, but I didn't put the Ottawa Senators on the wheel. Just pretend this says Ottawa Senators and not New Jersey Devils. So let's just throw some massive quotation marks around New Jersey Devils, because it's supposed to be the Ottawa Senators, but that doesn't really change too much. The Senators are going to be heading south, and with this team heading south, they're going to be entering some Detroit Red Wings territory, so it's going to be the Ottawa Senators taking on the Red Wings. Yeah, that could have been an absolute disaster, but luckily we did have enough teams on the wheel, so it technically didn't mess anything up. Now we have 2 very different teams here. One is 5-0 and has been absolutely dominating so far in NHL Imperialism. The other has only been involved in 1 matchup up until this point, but they're going to make it 2 matchups, being this matchup right here, and they're going to end it immediately. Lucas Raymond, a big slap shot, is going to be ending this one. The Red Wings are taking down the heavily favored Ottawa Senators, and just like that, we're down to our final 4. So it looks like somebody has finally been able to take down the Ottawa Senators, but the real question is, can somebody take down the Florida Panthers? Like, please, somebody beat Florida. Like, Detroit, it's cool and all that you took down the Ottawa Senators, but I need Florida to lose. So we're down to our final 4 teams, and all of them are still looking to attack, and it looks like St. Louis is going to be that next attacking team. I'm not going to lie, it's actually very wild St. Louis has made it this far, but the only reason they've made it this far is because of luck. Unfortunately though, I think their luck is running out, because here is directly east, but they were also slightly southeast. It's St. Louis versus Florida. Now St. Louis, I believe there is like a 99.8% chance that you lose this game just because of how you guys have performed so far in overtime this season. However, there is that 0.2% chance that you win. Problem is you're playing the Florida Panthers, and I feel like we all know how this is going to go. Alright, I'm going to spoil it. Florida's about to score a goal here. Peep who turns the puck over twice in a row. You hate to see it. So no comment. No comment whatsoever. Robert Thomas is on Florida now. That might be the most painful loss of the video so far. Robert Thomas was stripped of the puck twice in a row. Florida wins, and now we're down to our final 3. Like, out of all players on the St. Louis Blues to be stripped of the puck twice in a row, why did it have to be Robert Thomas? Now, Vancouver's going to have to claim a couple free states before they get into their first matchup. They're going to start off by heading east. So the Canucks are going to start off by heading east, and that's going to give them a free province. That's going to be Saskatchewan. So let's move on over to our next arrow spin. Is it going to be east once again? Well, it looks like it's going to be southwest, and I believe that's another free state. I shouldn't say I believe it's another free state. I know it's another free state. There you go, Vancouver. So regardless of what happens here, we're finally going to be getting into a matchup. Vancouver versus Florida. Now, Vancouver, I need you to do what no team has done before. Beat the Florida Panthers. Now, there is only one job for Vancouver. Beat Florida. Whatever you do, beat Florida. Connor McDavid, end it right here. It's a glorious day. Connor McDavid's ending it like 8 seconds into the game. Our final is set. The Vancouver Canucks taking on the Detroit Red Wings. It's a glorious day. McDavid really took over, and he finally beat Florida. In case you were wondering, 7 seconds. It took him 7 seconds to score that goal. Now, Connor McDavid, you were the hero we were looking for. Barkov is going to be joining the Vancouver Canucks. Our final is set, Vancouver versus Detroit. We just need to figure out which team's going to be attacking. So our final matchup is set between these 2 teams right here. The Red Wings are going to be attacking. Vancouver's going to be the home team. It all comes down to one game. So it all comes down to one final game. The Red Wings taking on the Vancouver Canucks. Connor McDavid just scored the biggest goal of the video. Now he's looking to pick up another. And right now the Vancouver Canucks are pushing. Connor McDavid, a big time shot right there. Barkov's collecting the puck in the corner. Right now, Barkov, McDavid, and Quinn Hughes are all on the ice together. Detroit might be a little bit scared, and truthfully, I wouldn't blame them. So it's an offensive zone draw for the Vancouver Canucks, but unfortunately, they're not going to be winning it. Zach Werenski's picking out the puck, and he's moving up to DeBrincat, over to Dylan Larkin. A chance to pick up another OT winner, but Thatcher Demko's going to shut the door. Detroit's keeping the puck in the offensive zone until DeBrincat took it out. But DeBrincat's going to circle right back in, over to Zach Werenski. Another opportunity, but Demko is playing like NHL 25 Thatcher Demko. He's stopping everything. Now, Thatcher Demko has been standing on his head. Vancouver has a handful of tired players on the ice ice. I'm not really too sure why they didn't go for a change. It's another Demko save. He's keeping Vancouver in this one. Without Demko, this game would be over. So Detroit's moving the other way with numbers. They're looking to score here, but Demko once again is making the save. The full pressure meter's maxed out, and Marco Kasper is going to find his own rebound. Demko couldn't make every save, and it looks like he's going to be allowing the final goal. Marco Kasper, of all players, is going to score the final goal in NHL 3-on-3 Imperialism. This one's all over, and the Detroit Red Wings are going to come out as our champs. We saw a lot of super teams being created in today's video. The Ottawa Senators were looking like a dominant force. The Florida Panthers, for the longest time, I thought were going to beat everybody, but I guess that's not going to be the case. Marco Kasper, when it mattered most, he's going to find the back of net one more time, and he's going to score the most important goal of the video, winning NHL Imperialism for the Detroit Red Wings.